Good morning, everyone. Today is February 5th. This is the Southampton, Massachusetts Council on Aging Board meeting, and we're being recorded both video and audio. Okay, sorry.
No audio.
Well, it is audio on this as well. So. No one's here from the public, so we don't have anyone here. First of all, Rini, welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
And as you know, we've added a new member.
Yes.
And thank you for appointing him. I think. Okay, January minutes. And Nancy, I know, thank you for sending them out promptly. And then Chris supplemented them with her bylaws revisions, right? So those were already approved down, so we don't have to discuss those in the minutes because we voted to approve them, but
Is there anybody missing, or are we full squad today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
No, I can't vote. No, you can't vote. Okay.
We're going to do that. No.
All right. Update from friends. Kay, were you at their meeting yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Great.
They had a lot on their agenda, but they have quite a bit of money in there. First of all, the treasurer's report, they have around 11,000 something in there for the month of January. I don't have it exact. $11,229, and they did a lot of updating on they have their luncheon set, and they're going to have Irish dancers, and they have some speakers, so that's all set. And then they
For March? That's the March luncheon?
The March luncheon is March 13th. It's going to be corned beef dinner. And they updated their membership list. They have a membership of about 100. And the updated bylaws handout was tabled till March. And with some of the money they've allocated to spend some of it, they're going to allocate $200 for the open space grant.
To purchase a bench, right?
To purchase benches, right. And they're going to purchase a bookcase. And they're also going to, I think, with the wine tasting, they're going to do,
Compensate, or
What do
are
they
they going
call
to pay
it?
for $5 a ticket? How do they call it? The first 50
So
people.
they allocated some money. So they have to spend
What
some
was
money,
the
I
word?
guess.
First 50 people who sign up, it will only be $10 rather than 50.
So they're subsidizing.
Thank you.
Right. Oh, and they also, they're going to contribute $300 to the Celebrate Southampton, you know. So that money is, you know, they have increased their money by, and it looked like it was 6,000 the year before, and now they have 11,000. So the rest of it, they set up all their different events that they're going to have. They're going to have a tag sale and all their luncheons, and that was updated. But So they had a pretty big agenda. I can't remember if I got everything in, but just about, I think, you know.
When's the wine tasting? When is the wine tasting?
Well, that's going to be, there's a couple of days. That's going to probably, you know, it's in May. It's going to be in May, yeah, so.
But they're thinking later May versus early May.
Right.
We tried to fit it in April, and
Right.
the later we go, the nicer it'll be up at Glendale Ridge. We can go outside.
Right.
No matter what date they pick, there's a conflict with something else going on.
It's a busy time of year. Okay, great, thanks, Kay. Appreciate that. Joan. Your director.
So did
Does
everybody get to
Yeah.
see the report? I don't know, did I send it to you?
No.
I am so sorry.
I got the
don't-
treasurer's, but not-
I will,
That's all right.
make sure that I get you.
Do you have an extra copy?
I do.
Thank you.
Do you have one like that? This one?
Well, I can, why don't you take this and I'll just look on with you, if you've got yours. All right.
Thank you.
I got all kinds here. You can have it. So January, you know, maybe a little bit of slower month than usual because of the winter, but we're getting a lot of phone calls, we're getting a lot of walk-ins. Those are increasing all the time, even if it's just looking for a fax machine that we don't have. But people
Or a
are at
free
least
cup of
popping through. Of
coffee.
course, they were a free cup of coffee, and they're popping through to pay their taxes. So I said, you know, have you had our newsletter? Do you know what's going on? And we can tell that they're, you know, they may be over 60, so anyway, I'm trying to encourage people when we see them, you know, to check out the newsletter. As you know, the pickleball expanded to indoors on Sundays, and that's going well. Janet may speak about that later. We did add a Zumba Gold and a Tai Chi class. The Tai Chi is doing very well. Glenn is the leader, and there's at least 10 or so.
Yeah, there's about 10 people that come, so.
On a regular basis, so that's great. We did have maybe 8 at the most for the Zumba class. Catherine's part of it. Some people have done Zumba before, so she's really a beginner teacher. So if you've never done it, it's a great class to start with. If you've already done it, it's probably a little bit slow for you. So I'm sure it's going to speed up once the newbies know how to do it. We're going to try it another month. And see how that goes. Again, it's hard to start things in the winter because, you know, it may be that people aren't even aware of it. We are sending out a mass mailing of the newsletters, helped by friends and the formula grant. So it'll go to all people over 60 in town the end of the month for March. And we'll include our day trips. We'll include, we're going to try and include a survey so that we can see if there's other activities people want, or you know, if they're aware of what's going on. We may mention the renaming of the center if anybody has any ideas, as you know, the enrichment center or something to that effect that's maybe a little more inviting to those of us who are over 60. We can talk about that. Of course, senior center naming is all over the place. We have it in front of the town hall, and we have it in the parking lot, and we have it on the door, so that's another whole extent. That's the smallest part of it. It might be senior center and something else to encourage our younger seniors to come.
Did you went to the workshop in Bellingham, the director's workshop?
So the director's
Can you
workshop,
speak to that?
yes. And it happened to be on surveys, which is really good. As you may or may not know, I'm working towards my certification, which was delayed till March 1st, so I need to put a portfolio together of my work for the last year, and it's due by the beginning of March. So part of it was this workshop that I attended, and it's going to help with the survey. Yvonne and I met, and we worked on not only grants, but the survey. So hopefully we'll have something that at least electronically we can okay before it goes in the newsletter. The newsletter is due next week, so we'll do the best we can to pull it all together, and hopefully by Tuesday versus Thursday, so that people can check out any editing, any mistakes that need to be corrected.
Excuse me, certification to be a...
Director.
For a director.
So I'm a program manager, certified Massachusetts, but that was 2002, so it's been a long time. You don't need to be a certified director. I think it's just another, you know, feather in your cap.
I just want to make sure the minutes were complete.
Yes.
And it's very, I think, a positive reflection for Southampton to have.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So-
Absolutely.
And we may be talking about that later. Our big news is that we did hire a new driver for a backup. And he's already in training and following through. Our other driver will hopefully be back to work in a couple weeks. That's the plan, if nothing changes. So he was hospitalized for over a week.
Yeah, we have executive session to discuss that in more detail. So.
The new driver, is he full-time?
No, he's a backup.
Okay.
He might be, if a week is needed, he might be full-time during the week, but he's supposed to be 19 and a half hours or less and as needed.
Okay.
And we'll, again, get more into the detaels on that in executive session.
Talk about
Okay?
specialization, he's a backup driver, we're going to hire another guy to go forward.
Very good, very good.
That's why we're sending him for training, so he doesn't not just back up, but he goes forward.
Wouldn't that be exciting? Actually, and Jim and I, you might know, Jim and I met too about originally we started about a backup position. We discussed this at one of our meetings about having somebody for the assistant position that could fill in if we needed somebody was away for an extended period. We've stretched that to be an outreach position, and the outreach grant from Cooley Dickinson is going to be submitted by next week as well.
The 11th of February, I think is when it's due.
February 11th.
Tuesday.
Yep.
Right, so there's a lot going on next week, but that's all right. Hopefully the storm doesn't come tomorrow and we'll have a whole day to work on things.
And we'll also have some funds from the state formula grant that to start the position, even if we don't, because we desperately need somebody to do the outreach and some program management, because Joan's hats are switching very quickly.
And Flo and Darlene have been terrific. They really have, like I'll say, can you do this, that, and the other thing, and they do it, and I say, you just did outreach. It happens in the middle of a day.
Right.
Somebody comes in and they need this or that, or we get a phone call, and I'm saying, write it down, you just did
But as
it.
you and I discovered, just talking about that grant, an outreach person could, and I remember exactly what you had said was, let's see if I do remember, assess, educate. See, that's great memory. The third thing there.
It's written down somewhere.
Visit, assess, and educate. And that was so key. That was
So right now, we're very reactive to outreach versus proactive.
correct.
So,
And that grant would allow us to be proactive.
I will show an example. I did get email from Scotland yesterday concerned about a son concerned about his elderly parents that live here in town. So is this the wave of our outreach for the future? The children are far away, and they're hoping that the Council on Aging and the neighbors and the citizens will be looked after or whatever, so it's, I'm not at liberty to say who, but just to have somebody reach out from Scotland, first you look twice and it's like, is this real? But we looked them up in the system and there they are, so anyway.
are we still working maybe with Westhampton on the grant?
So that, I have not reached out to them, but yes, Easthampton already has an outreach person, so Westhampton was the target.
Right.
They have a 5-hour director, so I will reach out today or tomorrow and just
Right, because
make
we
sure.
talked about the collaboration with
Yeah.
them.
That's
That'd be
important,
perfect.
'cause- right. We are collaborating with a sleigh ride on the 19th, if we have snow, or maybe a carriage ride, we'll see what happens, but that's
Out of Westhampton.
out of Westhampton.
Okay. Any questions for Joan on her?
Sounds busy. Good. Good job.
We're trying, and I don't know if we're going to talk about and Janet asked me about the annual report, which she meant the one for the town report that goes out every year. And I did compare some numbers, and I was shocked that we have not helped more people last year than we did the year before. But I realized that some of our key players are not with us anymore. There's 2 in our transportation that we were helping daily that are not, one moved out of town and one's been hospitalized. Then we have 2 other seniors that were here every day, every other day, and they're not in our group anymore. We have added our pickleball group, but it's
And
not
the Tai
like...
Chi.
And the, yeah, but
And
that's
Spanish
this year.
but, yeah,
And the
and
Spanish is new, but our numbers have not grown like I thought they would.
I think one of our challenges is, and I'm guilty as charged, is signing in when I come in to do an activity. So now at pickleball, I have a check-in sheet, so I check everybody off and I give it to Joan, because it's Sunday, we can't sign in, so
And then Joan forgets to do it, and Flo
So I
does
give
it
it
for
to
her.
So, but I mean, it's a matter of, I'll come in for something and I'll forget to sign in, or, I just walk right by it. So either get a volunteer or some kind of incentive to encourage people to actually use my senior center, because it's only as good as the data that we're able to collect. Because, the programs have expanded, so, and even, there are a handful of people that were regulars that are no longer here or aren't here as often for medical reasons, so. But the people that are new don't necessarily automatically go to the screen, even our board members.
True. And actually, 2 of the Tai Chi people haven't become members. I
Okay.
noticed that yesterday, or whenever we were
But they
looking
could
at
still
it.
sign in, couldn't they?
They can't really, you need to have a number.
On my senior
So,
center card.
If you have a phone number, you can, if you're already checked in. I'm not sure how it works, but anyway, Monday.
But it doesn't cost anything to join the center, so to just be
Yeah.
part of my senior center, because we have a couple people, even from out of town, that come in for Tai Chi, or for pickleball, and they're not members, but it's for the COA, so I need to get them the form so that they can be members of the Southampton Council on Aging, as we can all be members of other Council on Agings throughout the Pioneer Valley. So I think it's a lot of the information is just not being captured. So I know at some centers, there's somebody they greet you as you walk in the door, and they sign you in before you even get, 4 feet in. So, maybe we can figure out through the
We'll get a stop sign.
volunteers.
Stop. Sign in.
Yeah, 'cause
I
a
saw a
lot
new
of your
person
larger
down there
centers
today.
have a reception area.
Yeah, there's a reception
Of course,
area.
we don't have the room.
But maybe we can figure out something to help encourage people. Have a contest for the most sign-ins in a month or something. People always respond to that. Okay, all right, great. Any other questions for Joan? Treasurer's report, how are we doing, Josie?
I'd say we're doing pretty good. I'm sorry, I sent it out so late last night. Everybody get it? And
I'm just
everybody
happy
need
you're
a-
doing it with your wrist the way it is. Thank you for doing it. I don't,
I've got some extras. here
anybody
if
want to complain
needs.
about it just coming out last night? No. Anybody want to do it instead of Josie? They have a concern? Okay.
Were you at the select board meeting too? And obviously you were at the select board meeting.
I was
so,
watching from home.
Yeah.
Well, it's, things are looking good. We, I won't say same old, but we talked about you're a little over, but that's being taken care of.
He's going to have a couple
hours.
days off
Yeah,
as well.
so,
and
There's two Tuesdays that are election days and the center will be closed, so I won't be here.
But I don't, and I'm sorry, I can't carry my computer, so I don't have it, so I can't look at the little boxes and see what every
I can
detail
do it
is.
if
but-
anybody has a question.
So
I
is there
can
any-
answer their questions. for
Any
them.
questions about anything?
But I know that we still have a lot to spend, but I know Joan has some evening activities coming up and has some, I don't know if there's anything you can comment on, because it looks like, wow, we still have $10,000 left and it's midpoint, but it's not direct correlation per month spending, so it's,
Right, I have at least 3 programs planned. One is with the Small Planet Dancers, that is the group that is doing the Friends, the Irish dancing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're also going to come on a Saturday. They did it at the church last year, we're going to have it here. And they asked the Cultural Council, actually 3 or 4 groups had asked the Cultural Council and were not able to get money from them. We did get one from a fellow who's going to be a laughter therapy. He's going to do some kind of comedy, so he got his grant, so he's coming in May for Mother's Day. But the other ones, because there was money for programming, I did say that we would, have them come. One is the Murder Mystery, which will be in June, and one is the vaudeville dance group that'll be in May. And then Tai Chi, we're going to subsidize some
yeah, we
of the
may
Tai Chi.
decide to pick up the cost of the Tai Chi. We have the money, to pay some of the instructors. I mean, the whole goal is to expand our programs and, make them at least, I think we've got a copy of the Northampton calendar in our newspaper, and it said Tai Chi free. I'm like, wow, we got to compete with that.
Yeah, it's hard to compete when things are free. Although, they don't come for the free coffee.
Well, there's somebody down there this morning.
They come
that
every
the free
Wednesday,
coffee.
yes.
So,
So the van amount is in good shape, right?
Yes, the van is probably,
It's less than 50%
yes. So we have,
spent.
yeah, we've lost a couple of people that utilize the van a lot. So, but we have a couple more people that are kind of coming in, so we won't be, I think, running over. We may get into a little more detail at the executive session regarding that.
so any questions?
No, I make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Nancy's your second?
Nancy said.
Oh.
Could I kind of go back for a minute and ask Jonah a question? I wanted to know, as you were expanding programs, I had seen creative conversations, and I think memoir writing.
Oh, the memoir writing
Any of that?
in the newsletter. I can
Any of it?
expound on it.
Yeah.
There's 2 actually classes. One is a conversation class that was supposed to start today, but she doesn't have anybody signed up, so.
Okay, so
We do
nobody
have to
signed
get
up.
the word out. And the other one is a memoir class that was put on the page with the sleigh ride.
Yeah.
So
You signed up for that?
this, we don't have any signups yet, but we're not even going to start it till March. We're going to start it in March 16th, and I'll put it in the paper again. But I think it's a great idea. It's writing down your memories and your life's journey to pass on to your family, whether it be your triumphs or your tragedies, but to put them in a journal of some type to pass on to your family. So,
I mean, it sounds like a memory cafe kind of activity almost, that it could fit well with there,
So
as well as creative
the
conversations.
use of memory cafe is more for people that are that have Alzheimer's or some form of dementia. But I do like that memory cafe for this. We may have to think of something just a little bit different, but I like that it's a meet and greet, it's a discussion, it's talking about your life, and that's what the conversation is. What makes you think about, oh yeah, I did that, or I traveled here, or I did that too.
That's right.
So
And creative conversations can definitely fit in with that.
yes.
Yeah, because oftentimes memories are more there than present.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So this should be an exciting thing, and I think as the weather gets better and people start coming out more, and maybe getting the word out in the mass mailing,
Yeah.
maybe we can get some interest in new people that may want to be part of it. I don't know. Like, you're a part of a writing group. How many people do you have that?
I would say regularly attend 5, and that's all, about 5 to 6. And in the winter, of course, it is less. It is less. In the summer, it picks up, and you may get more new people. I don't find that there may be like 2 people. One's in Costa Rica, God bless her heart, for a couple of months, and others down in Florida and Myrtle Beach for a couple of months. So those are 2 regulars.
The snowbirds.
Yeah, the snowbirds. But it's not everybody's going to stick to something.
Right.
We know that.
Right. Now, what day of the week is it? Monday?
Tuesday,
Oh, good.
11 till 12.
Okay, so we're steering away from that time.
Right.
But I think we're looking at possibly Monday at 1.
Yeah, yeah.
So maybe if we can put a couple of those things on the front page. As you always say, they look at the front page and the back page of the newsletter. And so maybe we can somehow,
I thought of that yesterday when I was talking to her, because she's a little disappointed because she wants to make it happen.
Right.
And I said, the only thing about the mailing is that it's half a page because half is the mailer. So the front page is only this big.
I know.
So it may not end up on the front, but we could do maybe the highlights or see, we had talked about that, index, see
index on the
page
front,
6.
yes.
And hopefully they'll open
New
it and
activities.
see
okay,
page
so-
6.
Because, yeah, it's hard to draw.
Right, new activities, CP, yeah.
Yeah, new activities, I like that.
Yeah.
We talked about that at the Friends meeting, and I mentioned that one of the national news stations just talked about how important it is, how your past gets lost. You pass on, and your children have no history to go back to. And this is what we've got to reach people, you know, to let them say, this could be a way of, you know, when you're deceased, your children saying, wow, I wish I had asked Mom about or Dad about.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, we have certain venues that attract more people than others. If we could have somebody come in and speak to them about this coming in March, too, rather than depend on them reading a newsletter. I mean, I know we get a lot of speakers and things, but even at bingo, take 5 minutes,
Yep.
talk about it at the
Started
luncheon.
doing that, yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
we could do that.
I know.
Because I always invite Joan, when we're having refreshments, to come out and, you know, give them
Do
an
our marketing
update.
spiel.
She comes out with her lasso and says, you will attend.
That's why I have a
Do we have any visually impaired seniors? Because there is Valley Eye Radio, which is a reading service for visually.
Right, they were at our
impaired.
health fair.
Yeah, and you know, people who are visually impaired can qualify for a free radio. Actually, it will pick up that signal for
Transmit.
Valley Eye Radio, and you know, we could even try to get a program of our newsletter once a week or something.
Do you narrate for that? or
Yeah.
anything?
You do?
Yeah.
Where do you go?
I go to Springfield, WGBY Studios, in the basement, no windows.
So is it Harold? What's-
Harold Anderson.
Yes,
Yeah.
he did interviews with us, and I think they played him once.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very quiet audience, you know, we don't get a lot of feedback, but evidently people reach out. We read, you know, local newspapers and,
I know somebody who might be eligible for that, who's a member here.
Okay.
well, we, you know, we just think to get,
Bye.
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 Thanks for.
we can get them radios free, you know, if they sign up, we can do that.
Would be good.
Okay, good.
And look
Thanks
around.
for
I'm not aware of it, but if anybody is aware, then maybe you can give a name to Jim, or you can give it to
sure.
me, and I'll reach out. I think we have his
Yeah.
I won't say it right now.
No,
I'll
no.
tell you later. You
Sure.
probably know her. Anyway.
But even if you make a note of it, vision impaired in a newsletter, I guess might not work, so.
Yeah,
It
but, I
might-
mean, that's the,
But, yeah.
But I
But
think I
we
could do
could read-
Valley Radio somehow.
Yeah,
yeah,
somehow
we
edit
could
his-
read the newsletter at a regular
Yeah,
time
yeah.
for people.
That's neat.
interesting.
Yeah.
Good.
Do they have a Hampshire section and a Hadley section?
Well, you know, they do the Hampshire Gazette 3 days a week. They do the Holyoke Sun, Chicopee newspaper, Premier Magazine, Yankee Magazine,
That's awesome.
AARP, you know,
That's great.
yeah.
All right, thanks, Jim. Good idea. Okay, moving on, grant awards and applications. I know we received a couple of small grants.
Yes, we received the Ease of Walking grant, and we received the one that, the Healthy Balance, that we get, at least myself, trained to be what are they, moderator or I'm sorry, because now she's not here to talk to Nancy. Nancy
Needs to
is
be
part
trained,
of that, yeah. And she could fill in the slots. But anyway, yes. But two of them, they don't start till May or June. So both of them are part of a training. And we talked about having somebody else from the board or somebody else from Healthy Bones and Balance be involved. So hopefully we can.
They'll train 2 people, right, to be not instructors, but
Facilitators.
facilitators, yes, okay. And we need 2 facilitators, right? Okay. So that's good. I mean, how much is the value? They're small grants, right? I mean, or is it just the training you get?
It's the training you get. It's
Okay.
not, I don't think there was a money amount attached to it, but I will verify that.
Okay.
Is that the one that you had to pay for your own materials? There was one that, in that grouping, I remember that you had to pay, I think, something.
I think I kept a copy of the email, but I don't think the details are in the email.
Might not
It just
be.
said that you have been awarded. Congratulations, you've been awarded. And if I find it, I'll...
Yeah, the training was definitely, excuse me, free or grant supplemented. But there was something about the materials,
Here they are.
about $50 worth of materials.
You are awarded for your application Matter of Balance Training Grant for those you signed up. We had hoped to have the logistics of the training scheduled before this email.
This is who
It should likely
MCOA.
happen. This is MCOA Lynn, who was in our walk, May or June due to availability of master trainers. Will most likely be scheduled for 2 shorter days as opposed to 1 long day. And the other one is a Walk with Ease training grant. But there's no details on that one either. We were working with NASMA, National, I'm not sure,
NASMA.
NASMA, not NASA.
Asthma.
Okay, so as I get details, I maybe for the next meeting, I can give you some more details on those grants.
Okay. And I know the grant application, the one that
For Cooley
came through
Dickinson.
Jeff Harness, right? So thanks for making that connection for us. And Yvonne knew him well, so that was...
Well, my husband
Your
does.
husband
Yeah.
does.
Yeah.
And so we're working on, what's a $5,000 grant?
I think it's
for
about
the-
$5,000, yeah,
Process.
$5,000 grant. That's where we were able to take from another grant that we would love to have had funded,
Mhm.
that wasn't, and move it forward
Repurpose that,
and
yeah.
expand upon it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know that there's is it called the Neighbors, Easthampton Neighbors and Northampton Neighbors? Is that the group that is like the volunteers that we have in town? We don't have a Southampton Neighbors. We have Southampton Volunteers. I don't know how you can maybe integrate that as part of that. I mean,
You mean what Flo does, the service
well,
desk?
how the drivers that volunteer, people that are the volunteer list sort of, but it's not an official neighbors organization.
Caring community. I think I looked at the application, I guess years ago, when she's been here, I don't know, 6 or 7 years now, and hers has something to do with communication, caring community, something.
But there's these neighbors, do you know something about
Yeah,
that?
a
'Cause-
friend of mine is involved with the Amherst one. I don't know
Okay.
the details, but it's basically a movement, pretty
Right.
significant movement around people caring for each other in the community for seniors. There's a Northampton group and there's,
Easthampton, I think, just started.
oh, okay.
And where do they work out of?
I don't know for sure, but I can try to get that information. But it is kind of like a big movement, because I think they've spoken about the Northampton one. I mean, I know we try to do it all through the senior center. And this is even beyond, I think, expanding to get more of the community involved in supporting the seniors in the community, so.
That involves too, what do they call them, well-being checks and stuff?
Yeah.
During
I don't know
weather,
the details.
people
It'd be
call
great to
in.
have a presentation.
So we have a police department does that for us.
Oh, really?
You can be on their list. In fact,
Yeah,
some
they
of our
do the
seniors
wellness
are.
checks, right? So.
Especially during a storm.
But yeah, maybe there's somebody, I don't know if there's a head of an organization, if there's a umbrella organization or not, but if we could get somebody to talk to us about that.
Is there, I'm just wondering if it's any connection to, I had gotten a email and said, oh, join this neighbors group. And because theoretically somebody in my neighborhood had fallen and he was saved because somebody contacted somebody and whatever. But then I got another one, and I was really skeptical about signing up, and I got another one, and I actually talked to the person who theoretically sent it to me, and she hadn't sent it to me. And, she had heard about it and had a sense of what it was supposed to be, people watching out for each other, but it really sounded like a phishing scam trying to get your email.
Well, you know what? They're different. I know a little bit about it because my sister ended up asking me, and so I think I asked her about it. So there's an organization called Something to Do with Neighbors, and they connect people by electronically, so that if there was an emergency or something, someone would be able to send out a message to a group of people that would be able to respond if somebody had a need of some particular kind. So that is a legitimate thing, but it's sort of, I didn't feel good about it. I didn't want to sign up. I just felt like it was somebody else getting involved, and I didn't think the ethics
Data mining of some sort.
Yeah.
But I just went on, my friend Liz Welsh is the one that's very involved in this Amherst group. It's called Amherst Neighbors. And it says Amherst Neighbors is a network of Amherst residents who are building an organization with and for elders to promote community and offer practical support, leading to full and robust lives. We are part of the Village to Village movement, made famous by Atul Gawande's book, Being Immortal. And then it goes on, so anybody's on Facebook and you want to check Amherst Neighbors, it goes on to talk about they're creating social opportunities by and for members, which might include things like game nights, neighborhood gatherings, hikes, book discussions, movie outings, and speaker series. To date, we have formed a board of directors, received our 501c3 nonprofit status, formed 4 committees, and many, many conversations, created relationships with the Senior Center, Cooley Dickinson Hospital, the Council of Aging, attended the National Village to Village Conference, and the Sustainability Festival, gained knowledge from Northampton neighbors, created a logo, developed a framework for house parties, and so much more. So anyway, they have a Facebook page.
But that does sound different from the one that I think I...
Yeah.
Yeah, you're talking more like the data mining.
There is another one that's Southampton neighborhood or something like that, and they find you people to fix your house or do like the service list we
Yeah,
have.
next
They have-
door, Southampton.
Next door.
I think that's similar to the Amherst Neighbors thing, practical help.
Okay. All right, great. So we talked, Celebrate Southampton, so I went to their meeting last week. Was it last week?
Yeah.
Before, it's a blur. And tried to insert the Council on Aging as much as we could. And we're going to either we offered to start it's a Friday night and a Saturday. Friday night is a music, dance kind of thing at Conant Park. And then start them Saturday with like our Go for Fun walk or whatever walk we can get a grant on, and do that intergenerational thing, and then we'll work through the details. And also to either offer a pickleball clinic for members in town, or of all ages, because I know the kids play it at Norris, and the older kids play it at Norris, and so just to expand, our exposure. And I know I gave some information to the Friends.
They brought it up in Friends.
Yeah, about the
they made the
donation. Yeah, they were looking for groups to donate, and so I just asked them to discuss it at the meeting yesterday. And so, I mean, we kind of, I don't know, didn't get involved enough last year, and it's a good way to promote what we have going on. Maybe we'll have a booth there of some sort to talk about what we have and find out what we need.
It might be a
from the
combination,
community.
Friends and
Yeah.
Council on Aging.
So,
It would be nice if you could combine our walk with that.
yeah, that's, so
That
we
would
may
be-
kick it off with
Yeah,
that, and then
yeah.
end
We
up back
wouldn't
at the
necessarily need a
church.
grant. I mean, the grant did pay for some, supplies, but
No, we
we
don't
could do it
necessarily,
without
yeah.
the grant.
So with something like that, if we had a presence, you could do, besides the pickleball demonstration, maybe a Tai Chi
I
demonstration.
thought about that too. I didn't want to volunteer the group
Yeah.
that's just beginning on Tai Chi without speaking to the group. I feel I can be the voice of pickleball. I'm not quite sure I can be the voice of Tai Chi. But they do have entertainment things
Yeah.
during the thing, and I
Yeah.
thought, well, maybe that would be cool to do a Tai Chi.
How about our
dance.
line dancers? They could do a
Oh, they
couple
could do-
numbers.
yeah. So that did cross my mind. I just wasn't ready to
Commit, yeah.
commit myself to
Well,
do
now
it.
you've got
But
two people who think that way, so that's...
as soon as you join Tai Chi, you have a
I
voice.
know, I want to. It's a bad time for me, I can't.
Yeah.
But,
Fit it in, huh?
yeah.
But it's
maybe.
But I did, that's a good thought too.
The
So-
hand movement may be a little difficult.
Huh?
The hand movement.
Right
Well,
now.
you know, actually, at some point that may be very helpful, actually. I don't know, I think maybe a few weeks.
Yeah, good.
When you're back in your ukulele, you start school
I
then.
know.
We could have ukulele players too.
I just wanted to go back to that neighbor thing. How about Triad, if we got them involved with that? Is that something to neighbor or,
Yeah,
you know?
It's worth asking the question.
Yeah. We did cancel our Triad meeting for Monday because Andrew's away, Dave's away at a conference, he's speaking somewhere south. And so anyway,
Can I mention something about Celebrate?
Yeah, sure, please.
So I mentioned this last night that we are about to award the Boston Post cane to another person because the person we did before was somewhat of an honorary presentation. And then unfortunately, the person who would ordinarily have been next passed away, Mr. Searle. So there are 4 people this year that are turning 97. And they, you know, only one person gets the award. That's the way it was originally set up. So we will, within a couple of weeks, be awarding the cane to the oldest resident, whose birthday I think is in July, who turns 97. But there was Christina Matson, who, you know, has been a longtime person in town, grew up here. When she heard that there are 4 people, and she's familiar with one of them, I think, is Mr. Hendrick's wife. She talked about, you know, I know that only one person get the award, but it would be nice to have a little party this summer, like a birthday party for all 4 of them.
wouldn't that be swell?
And then Tammy last night at the select board mentioned maybe it would be nice to have it at the Celebrate Southampton.
Awesome.
So anyway, it just seems like a logical thing for the Council of Aging
Yes.
to be involved
yeah.
with. I know that the town clerk is the one that actually
Yes.
determines who the person is, and then often Ed reaches out to that person and arranges them to come in. It's a nice little ceremony, but I just thought I'd mention that.
Okay.
Because somehow it seems logical that would be
We
involved.
definitely
in-
should do that. Yeah.
In
And I
some
think there's
way.
a memory day, a memory hour at the center, so maybe that we could have the birthday celebration indoors, I don't know.
Yeah.
Although you may want it at the park where there's more people.
Yeah, it was just,
Yeah, they
just
do the
mentioned last night.
oldest,
I
they
just
do
thought
the
I'd pass that
youngest.
along, but it might be
Yeah.
nice to have the senior center or Council of Aging, you know, do something and give them some honorary something, or, you know, just to keep that in mind.
So Flo keeps track of the next one, and the woman that is part of it is part of our yoga class, and I approached her about it. She goes, I don't want that award, and I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want to be recognized.
Yeah, okay, so now you're right. I can tell you who they
And
are.
she's in
Well,
really,
her-
now
I don't know,
it's
really
very
good
serious.
shape.
You want to do it on tape? or-
No. Her reasoning, though, was that unfortunately, you get the cane and you die very soon thereafter.
But only recently. That wasn't traditional.
I'm just saying, that was her
She's
reasoning.
got to break the
Well, you
tradition.
have to also realize that that was a very intentional, it was important to this man, so we
To
went
give
out
it
of
to
our
him before he
way
passed.
to go ahead and give it to him.
Yeah.
But we don't have to discuss
No, that
exactly.
people make all kinds of summations, you never know.
Yeah, I made a point of saying that. I don't want anybody to think that, okay, so the 4, I could just mention the 4. Mary Balfour, 725. Leona Hendrick, 727. Theodore Hendrick, 814. And Doris Pennington, 817. So anyway, this...
Great. That's really
summer-
nice. 814 is part of the
Oh,
Celebrate
that's the Friday
Southampton.
of,
Yeah.
Celebrate Southampton.
So anyway, it would be nice. I just wanted to pass it
Yeah, we
on.
can
It's nice to
certainly support
think
something
about
on that too.
I know 2 of the 4, and they're very active.
Yeah.
They still come to the
Yeah.
center.
That's good.
The one drives.
I have it.
Yeah.
That's
The
good.
memory talk, didn't he?
Yeah, that would be nice to have last year with a memory talk to do, you know, to be thinking ahead about what might be a nice way to honor them as a group or give them some type of citation or something, because they're not all going to be recipients of the award.
Okay. We'll do something. Okay, thanks, Randy.
We're adding a plaque, our Friends is going to pay for it.
Oh, right.
Perpetual plaque, so that we can add the names of the people who have either donated to the center or been very active in the center who have recently passed away. So we already have 4 or 5 names, but someone's going to Din Brothers to get a plaque, catalog.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay, so we can't, senior survey you spoke about already, so we're working on that, and we'll get an update. Do you have anything to update on that, or no? You'll send something to us electronically?
So, yes, so the certification class I went to was showing you how to do a survey online. So we have a small group, so maybe if we get 50 to 100 surveys back, maybe that'll be good. But these are big cities that do 100. I know, but who knows? The surveys, you don't get a lot of surveys back necessarily.
again is
But this
another
can
reason
all
for
be
an
done
outreach worker.
Yeah, right.
electronically. If you, I mean, still the data has to be inputted. But we went over the one we have, and we can go through it again. But either if I went to the senior center or when I go to the senior center, I'm interested in what, and then it's a list of 10 or 14 things. Seeing my friends and making new friends, taking better care of my health, more exercise classes and equipment, use of equipment, social activities, outdoor walking or pickleball, day trips. Requesting transportation, requesting services, cultural events, music and art, learning new things, services and benefits, and would you recommend the senior center to a friend or family member? Now, some people have not been involved with the center, so it's your idea of if I went to the center, what would I be looking for?
Okay. Is this from the class that you took?
So part of it is, and we kind of changed a few of the words. So I wanted to go over the one that was put out in October of 2017. It was more, men's groups and arts and crafts and that kind of thing. So I haven't found the original survey. I'm going to see if Andrea has it. But just to see if we can compare. I know from the last survey it was suggestions of crafts, and we tried that, and we didn't really get any more people. So it depends on who fills out the sheet.
If you want somebody to head this up, I understand a guy from Iowa is looking for a
Oh,
job.
no. You're going to ask for that? Yeah, and then this morning they had a notice that they had an official counter. It was Count Chocula from Sesame Street.
Oh, boy.
Oh, too much.
Okay, good. So,
But that was just a quick run, and we talked about it, a little bit, but we need to do a little bit more on it.
okay, good. Any comments or thoughts or input to the survey that you'd like to see on it that's not there?
I know somebody wanted a pool table, but we don't have room for a pool table. They gave away the pool table, I guess, used to be in the town hall and basement.
Yeah, we had much more room. We had the whole basement, and the pool table was stuck in one of the corners. And that brought on the discussion, this is great, we have Jim on the board, how to get more men to come
Yeah.
to the center. Spanish was really great because...
Yeah, I'm looking forward to beginner Spanish because I'm taking it.
Starts next week.
Yeah, and now he's added a class for step 2 or
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
session 2, so that's
Great.
another great. And that got more new men. I mean, it's you and Dennis.
Right,
Dennis can't come for anything else,
right.
right?
I think Bill attends things regularly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Bill Breyer.
But I don't know his last name.
Breyer.
Right.
Oh,
Breyer.
Yeah.
B-R-E-Y.
But, yeah, it's a good group.
I mean, that's really the first activity you were involved in here.
Right.
Other than, did you go on any of the trips?
No, we're thinking of doing
Okay.
that, and we've attended some of the, the meal events.
Right.
Here.
But I mean,
You went to
was
the
it good?
educational thing in the evening, but that was kind of how we
Right.
got you on the board.
So this is a little off the subject, but maybe part of it. At the Friends of the Library wine tasting, I spoke with, and I won't mention his name, but was it your daughter
Yeah.
who knows him? And about the open position on the board.
Oh.
And now he's a
There's no
younger,
open position right now, but we do
Well,
have...
alternates.
We have associate members
Associate,
open.
is it also?
Which would be a good
But
opportunity
there is-
now.
Well, I didn't actually, I said there's a position coming up, and, and gave him a little rundown on it. But what I forgot to tell him, and I thought maybe you or your daughter could kind of fill him in on this, that he could come to a meeting and be an associate member, and it doesn't commit him to being on the board, but would give him a good idea of what's involved.
Yeah, as an associate member, you do have a term, and you do have a commitment to come, but you just don't get to vote. But I mean, if
Right.
you could come to a few meetings and see if he even wants to do that
Right,
first.
right,
I mean,
right.
we're not closed meetings, we would love to have.
It's an alternate member,
No, it's an associate member. Oh, it's an alternate? Yes, you're right. It's an
but I
alternate.
can change it if it's
No, no,
an
it's an
associate
alternate. It's in
member.
bylaw says an alternate, yes.
Okay.
And Yvonne, and we'll tell you all about that, and so will Nancy
Yeah,
if she
Nancy
was
and
here.
Yvonne were our alternates.
That's how they started.
And
Yeah.
it's kind of a,
So I honestly don't know how to contact him.
Well, I can check with my daughter, but I don't know, I don't know him, but I know the family, but,
Yeah.
and see.
So just as a little follow-up to him, I wouldn't want to put it on the news here.
no, that, I'm sure he appreciates
But,
that.
if he realized there was a way of, just come and see how we work.
Yeah, we really need the male perspective, and we need the younger perspective, too.
Yeah, and he's a younger male, so.
Perfect. Fits all the boxes.
Then I think we, I know we're getting a little off topic, but we need to determine next year, do we want to keep it at 9:30 in the morning? Do we want to move it till 4:30 in the afternoon, so that we can attract people at the end of their day that are maybe working? I know for Nancy, it would be much, I don't know about Rini, it would be much easier to come later in the afternoon than, kind of break up your whole morning. But how do we get more people involved that aren't necessarily, that are, over, maybe we have to have more than 50% of the board over 60, but we can certainly have, a percentage under 60, so, for the future of the center as well, so. Okay.
I just want to make one other comment regarding the trips. I was signing up for trips yesterday, and I was amazed that we're already 16 people have signed up. We haven't even begun to even talk about the trips.
Yeah, well,
And
it's been in the
already-
newsletter twice, just
Yeah.
because I know that people, you have to see something, I forget, it's 5 or 6 times before it clicks. So I keep putting it in there, just like I do the memberships and things, so that someday somebody will catch it and say, oh yeah, they're having trips. So that's, and word of mouth, telling your friends.
Which one's filled up already? Or
Oh, it's not filled, there's 42
Oh, okay,
So you
because
can-
we were
yeah.
thinking of it.
Yeah.
the
No, I would
train
say
runs,
within the next month or two, you really should sign
Yeah,
up,
we
though, because
procrastinate.
once people start signing up, I mean,
Yeah.
we've had waiting lists on some of them, depending on what, I think maybe the one to Boston, one of them, there was a waiting list.
Yeah, there's a little black notebook in Joan's office, that as soon as you walk into the office to the right. But it's a good idea to sign up early, because that is something, those trips are popular.
Oh, they're fun, yeah.
Yeah, they're popular.
And Darlene set up a nice display of all of the trips. We had it there forever, and we put calendars and newsletters, but now it's all the trips. And she put trips right on the side, so it's very organized.
And
Yeah.
where is that?
So
It's
as soon as you,
outside or in the
as soon as
office?
you walk into the building where my
Yeah.
senior center is, to the right, there's an oak separator,
okay.
and now it holds all the trips.
Okay, great.
So you have to just look from here to here.
Yes.
I don't do that very often, but I'll start doing
And I'll just
that.
say, since we're being recorded, May is to Newport and a dinner train.
Oh, I'd love to do that.
And June 16th, I believe, is the Lighthouse Tour with a catamaran, is it catamaran?
Catamaran.
Catamaran boat ride.
Ooh.
And August is the Princess, which is the Lake Chagagog in Webster.
Chamungabog.
That one. Yeah, you fish on your side of the river, I'll fish on my side of the river, nobody fishes in the middle, that's the translation. And then in September is Quabbin, and the history of Quabbin and the Salem Cross Inn. And October is our fall foliage in Vermont on a train. So there's some really nice trips.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
I know a few of you were involved with the planning of those trips, so we really spent time picking good ones.
Yes.
So thank you for volunteering to do that.
Yeah.
And whoever else works with you, so that, because I know it's a lot for just Joan to do, and the volunteer,
I mean, I would have chosen all of the trips, frankly. But Joan had to narrow me down.
That's true.
It's true, she did. She did.
But it's really been a nice addition, really has gotten a lot of people involved. And I can't imagine if those people are added into our head count. Do they all sign in for that? Do you get the
We
list?
do take the list and we
Okay,
put
good,
them all in, yeah, so there's new people, right?
Good.
I hate to make this suggestion, and I hate to even bring it up, but I will. If climate change really is correct, what they're saying about New England, that we are getting warmer, the heck with it, we might as well go trips all year round.
Well, it has been a mild winter.
It's been a very mild winter.
Yeah.
Spring's almost here.
I don't want to
It was.
forget, make sure you talk about Providence, right? You've traveled to Providence?
Oh, my gosh,
Oh,
yes.
we'll
She's
talk
been-
later. We'll
talk later.
After the meeting, if you have time, or not, another day. So, yeah.
Sure,
Or you
sure.
can just email your most favorite restaurants. So, okay, the senior center survey we talked about, renaming the senior center we kind of touched on. Were you going to add that to them? What would you like to see then? We
Yes,
talked
I
about
want a few
giving
top
some-
suggestions.
Okay, so let's narrow that down. And we had, was it from MCOA or from somebody that talked about some other?
My senior center did
Okay.
a survey.
Oh, right. Okay, so maybe we can snag some things from there. So the new members.
I thought we sort of, well, in our planning meeting.
We
looked
did,
at-
but we never, we talked about what we liked, but Janet said, we don't want it to come from the top down. We want the seniors or the town people to decide, what do they want to call their center? Do you-
And they
We
may
should
say
put
the
some
senior
make
center.
sure our suggestions are in there.
So we do have a small list that we
Yeah.
kind of liked, and we'll add that in, and then maybe leave a blank, maybe add just
Or other.
my senior center, or the senior center as an option, because people want to keep it the senior center. We don't want to change it and upset the apple cart, so.
Maybe we should start out small and change the newsletter. Take out,
The senior
our
scoop.
senior scoop. There's the word senior again.
And just call it the scoop.
Well, that's interesting.
Because we're trying to, the newsletter's going out, we're trying to attract a younger crew in,
I kind of like that.
younger than 80.
I'm younger than 80.
I'm younger than 80.
I'm younger than
I
80.
got 1 year to go.
Again, that's very simple to do.
So maybe that's it. Let's start on a survey with changing the name of the newsletter.
Now, the newsletter was changed somewhere along the way. It used to be the
Yes.
Sentinel or something?
And there was no vote on that.
Okay.
That was a top-down decision.
Okay.
Right, the person who was in the office at that time made the decision.
Or maybe the board supported it at the time.
That I don't know.
I mean, I like the scoop. It's easy, and we have Sheldon's right here in town, so I kind of like the scoop.
Why don't we just try it?
So instead of, someday you could have, big ice cream cone.
Well, I do in July or August. There are ice cream cones there, and maybe even September. I don't know.
And just to make sure the Celebrate Southampton would like to be in the July-August newsletter as well, so they have to have it in by June 15th?
Yes.
Whatever they want, so
Yes.
I'll make sure we'll have to save room for them, and I want to make sure that
Yes.
we give them that drop-dead date. Okay?
There's another meeting, right?
Yes, the 19th, yep. So, all right. So new members and alternates, we kind of, and I crossed out associates and put alternates. Thank you
Oh,
for that
it was already
correction.
on there. I
It's supposed to
forgot
be
to have
alternate.
the...
That you did, no. And so we already touched base on that, but we continue, I think it's not a surprise Josie's intending to step down at the end of her term, and I've asked her to find her replacement before she leaves. And so I'm working on it.
And that happens in May, so we've got a couple months.
Well, not until the end
Step down
of
to
June.
careful.
So
Well, yeah,
so
right.
that
The
leads us
election.
into the annual board meeting is in May, so we have the election of officers in May that take effect really July 1 for the next year. But, so we just have to keep that in mind. So start working, Josie. And also, we need to start thinking about any additional items we want to make sure we spend down our grant, and if you have any thoughts, or talk to the people in the senior center, or whatever we're going to call it, about things they would like to see, please share that information, or, with Joan, and bring it here and make some recommendations so that we make sure we meet the needs of the community.
I don't understand. What do you mean about spend down the grant?
So the formula grant comes, we get $14,000, and much of it's wages, but we put in programming and the volunteer dinner, which is coming up in June. So there'll be money coming from that, but we need to do it item by item just to see about where we're at. But like last year, they bought chairs. Did we end up buying the chairs,
Yes,
or did
we bought
friends?
the chairs, and they've been very well received with the
All right.
arms and.
So the
The
further
arm
grant from the
chairs.
state.
Yes.
This is the grant
Yes.
from the state,
Okay, sorry.
and that has to be spent by June 30th.
So just things that, so we don't just force Joan to make all the final decisions. So if you hear anything from the group, as Joan talks to the seniors all the time, of things that might be helpful for the center. We talked about maybe getting mirrors and mounting them on the wall for the storage thing, so that when we do Tai Chi, the instructors, or yoga, that they can actually watch the group, or you can watch your movement to see if, you look as good as you think you do when you're doing Tai Chi. So, I don't know if we're going to do that or not, but just some things like that. A sign that says, "Stop and please don't forget your senior center," or "Quiet please, Tai Chi or yoga in session."
I made one of those up, but you're right, it would be nice to have one that's...
Yeah, from both directions, because I'm as guilty as the next person of walking through the senior center when if I'm in one part of the building and I want to go see Joan, but if there's healthy bones or yoga or Tai Chi, you really don't want to be passing through. So something to alert people, please be quiet, or, something along those lines that, so.
And do we, I don't know if people have expressed interest in this, any of the people who attend the senior center, or if we have the ability to do it, but this made me think of it. As people like to do pitch, we know people love bingo, and I'm going to probably mispronounce it. I can spell it, but I can't pronounce it. Mahjong?
Yeah.
Joan can address that, because we've tried that before.
And that didn't go over big?
We have games, we have
Scrabble.
Mahjong games, yeah, we have some of that, but we haven't used it, and I think they used to do maybe a Monday afternoon, and it's kind of a pickup game, but
Okay.
we don't really have people coming for that, but, we
Okay.
can try it again.
No, I
We can
didn't
make
know.
it
It's
part
fine.
of the survey, actually.
Yeah, that's it.
It's not a
Cribbage.
bad idea.
I think cribbage, we got 2
Yeah.
people, but there are bigger groups in other places. Bridge was big in Northampton. I don't know what happened to their group. Maybe
Yeah.
they want to come play with it over there, but anyway, yeah, there's other opportunities. The center, it's a good size center. You can only do probably one activity at a time because of the noise level. The ceilings are high, everything echoes, so, we had tried doing computer and yoga at the same time, but there's chit chat is just distracting for the yoga people. That's why sometimes I use the select, I love dominoes. There's
Dominoes
a train,
Yeah.
Mexican train, which is so,
A lot of
and we
fun.
have that game as well. But it's just, I don't know that people stop in their daily routine and say, I want to go to the senior center and play Mexican train. I think, especially Southampton, I've worked in several communities, people are very independent, and they have agendas. They need to get to the transfer station, and they need to get their shopping, and they need to get, so I'm glad that people take time out of their busy schedule to come at least once a week to play bingo, or to play pitch, or to do
Yeah,
Tai
the
Chi.
pitch group is growing, so that's...
Oh, yeah.
It is.
And maybe Mahjong would come back. I know a lot of my friends play it in other parts of the states, and, I've resisted, but I might consider it. After
Yeah,
my
I'm
Tai Chi.
surprised at how each center, whether it's Northampton, Easthampton, or Southampton, there are different things that are popular in each center. The walker I contacted yesterday that wants to walk with us on Monday and Wednesday, how did you pronounce it? Mahjong? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Tai Chi, and then here we are. We're very popular, I guess, with bingo. I was amazed. You can't get a parking space in bingo day, which is amazing.
And pitch is going to be the same thing.
Wow.
I mean, they're up to, what, 3 tables now?
Do men come for that too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, because, you know,
2 or 3.
Anita participates in this exercise class in Northampton. She's been in it for years. And when I'm waiting for her, if we're going out after class, there are really very few men at the center, at even Northampton. They play pool. They might hang out a little bit in the coffee shop. But I know I was in an exercise class and I was the only man there.
Yeah, we have 1 man in our exercise.
Yeah.
In Tai Chi, there's a couple different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have men involved in
Well,
pickleball.
and
It's
there's some that
men
do
and
the
women.
Tai Chi.
and-
Well, I
Men
noticed when we
Tai Chi.
walked through Westfield, remember, there was that whole room with the pool tables, and there was a whole,
Poker and
big,
pool.
and there was a big table with about maybe eight men playing cards,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and there was about 4 or 5 men playing pool.
Yeah.
And there are men who play pitch, and the same with bingo. One gentleman comes with his mother and the caretaker, but he seems to, he participates. And but we started with 1 table, and now we're up to 5. And the same with pitch. They started with 1 table, they're up to 3.
Right, standing room
So,
only.
Not quite, but
Yeah.
amazing.
That's great.
And we were having a planning meeting, and pitch was in the room.
Yeah, our pre-board planning meeting.
What did you say? I mean, they were having such a great time. It was wonderful to hear them.
They're our noisiest group.
Which is good, especially on a Thursday
Yeah.
afternoon, because it used to be pretty quiet on a
Yeah.
Thursday afternoon.
But they're enjoying it, and that's what counts.
That's good. And the other thing, and I know, Rena, you tell us about this website all the time that sells things for, or markets things for, so we'll talk about that a little bit more too, because we need to look into that. I mean, whether it's...
First Street?
First Street, yes, okay. And then this is a year ago, and we haven't really, but maybe we need to kind of look into that.
And
So,
what is
thank
First
you.
Street?
It carries things for
Adaptive
adaptive, yeah.
equipment.
Oh, okay.
You know, I know I talked to some of this, and they'd come to bingo, but the cards are too small, and they're embarrassed because they don't want a bigger card and stick out like
Yeah,
broadcast, but,
Joan got us some large
oh,
ones.
good.
Can't sell them now.
We get the Rotary Club helps with vision things.
Okay.
So it might be worth asking them.
Okay.
That's their sort of, no, I'm sorry, the Lions
The
Club.
Lions Club, yeah, because they do the glasses connection and the, or
Yeah.
connect
And they
collection.
commission for the blind, and we've helped people to get
Okay.
adaptive stuff.
Okay, good. All right, again, we interviewed Joan and myself and Jim, Ken Cole for the backup and forward van driver. And he accepted the offer, and it was approved by the emergency was approved by the PPPB last week and by the select board last night. So he's going to training, he's gonna get, his necessary things, so hopefully he could actually start driving possibly next week.
I'm going to find out, I'm
Okay.
going to check with him today or tomorrow.
Okay, so that's...
He's actually doing a volunteer run for us. He's been courted, and he's doing a volunteer run for us tomorrow in his
in
own
his own
vehicle.
car, yeah. Good.
So Richard still's up?
We'll talk about that at executive session.
Can I just mention about that, because we saw the PCF last week, and I know they're not currently on Personal Policies and Procedure Board, but last night Art did a presentation of the different steps. Yeah. And if I was to say that there's somebody that's really out of place, it's the van driver. Because I think the amount of responsibility of that position is so high that if you look at the other positions that are in step 1, it's step 1, right? To me, that
I'm
seems
going
like, there's a tremendous amount of responsibility, and so I don't know, Jim, you could probably speak to it better than me, but out of all the positions that were set into different steps, That just seemed to me to be,
I agree, and it's been brought up by our van driver that, in Huntington, he could get $2 an hour more than he does here.
but I just think maybe that would be worth appealing to PQB about and then having a,
Well, it's all paid by the FRITA grant, so,
Right.
I mean,
The more we pay him an hour, the quicker the grant runs out, too.
but I mean, it's, we put the original, so there was a PRF put in as well because the backup driver original was at 13, so we wanted to expand it. I don't know why we put it in as one solid dollar amount, but it's usually 13 to
It's a
16.
range, yeah.
And so we can accept it at 15. But I agree, it's a lot of, since it's from the grant, I don't know that there would be, and the same thing with the volunteer coordinator, which is very
Very low.
low on the scale as well, that, that's also the state formula grant, so we could probably increase that, but it's always, we want to make sure that we can do that. We'd have to go through the process with PPPB to, because of the 2% that the town gets versus what, a grant can pay for. And I know that's
And
always
the
been-
grant actually does say that she has to be paid minimum wage, whatever that minimum wage is. So I know it did go up at one point, maybe to reach that, but I know that's gone up as well, so.
Is that,
Maybe we could do a survey too of Easthampton and Northampton.
Well, I think the survey
my.
was
Van
done,
drivers.
Oh, my.
with the
That'll open
Jacobs
up-
thing. That
yeah, the Jacobs
Yeah, we
thing.
can find out probably from.
Well, just calling up and asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have the average range, and we're 15% below average on the van driver for comparable towns. So, the survey's already been done.
Right.
So, Easthampton is a different animal than us, Westfield's a different animal than us, so, and if they're not, Easthampton has its own van and its own driver, so this is through the grant that we get, they pay it out of their general fund.
The grant comes from, for the
Franklin
van?
Regional.
Franklin Regional Transit Authority.
how does one, or can one appeal to FRITA to increase the,
The grant?
yeah?
Well, we have to spend what we're having, and then we have to, they had been at a level funding, just like our town was at a level funding.
I think
So-
not that long ago, it was in the low 20s.
Right, it was in
So it has increased.
23 or 24, so, yeah.
So it has increased, so. And since Rena, you brought that up, thank you. I also just wanted to mention that at a previous meeting, I know you weren't here, that Nancy, we were talking about extra hours for the budget for this year, and Nancy asked, what about the hourly rate for Joan, because the proposed benchmark, she's 35% lower than the proposed benchmark and 8% lower than the minimum salary. And based on the level 5, grade level 5, she's the only one that's paid lower than what was the proposed minimum salary. So as much as I also want to make sure we address the support people, we can't totally ignore the department heads.
I agree, and I also think that in the past when people have achieved a certain certification, certain people in the town hall, they've also received additional funds for that. Some of it is set in stone, or it's allowed
Right,
to them.
right.
And others, it's based on department heads. So I think that would be I totally support that.
I think our challenge is that when we were locked in when we hired to the $19 to $20 range that was already set for people that didn't have the qualifications of Joan or the position. It's not Joan's qualification, it's the position's qualification, and it's been more clearly defined, and the growth of the number of participants and the seniors in town. It's just something, if she's the only one that's below average, then I appeal to her director supervisors.
What
To
do we pay
consider
the
that.
van driver?
When the van is 15, he was making 14, I think, before this board, and we increased him to 15. But,
And we're talking about increasing a van driver at a grade 1 level, increasing his salary. We have a director that's a grade 5, who at best will probably be making $3 more. That's almost embarrassing to even say.
to pay Richard 17 and Joan 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
You know.
I think you have a lot of, I don't know if she's officially had her evaluation, but their personnel policies do allow for some movement there, and then you have certification, that's another notch. So have you had your meeting yet with Ed? That would be the next thing to do, I think. is
I'm
to-
not sure, did you?
It's an anniversary thing, it's probably not till September.
No, I think you...
It's an annual thing.
No,
It
it's
should
part
be
of the
an
budget
annual.
process. Each department should meet with Ed and go over the
Did
request
you
for
have an
FY
evaluation
'21.
last year?
Not that I recall, but
I think that should
Nothing
happen.
that I was a part of or that we were surveyed about.
Yeah, I think you should.
Because at
make
the
an appointment.
advisory, we don't really get involved in that, but except for input. We'd be
Yeah.
happy to
I
provide.
think it would be a good idea to make an appointment with Ed as part of the FY '21 request, and then with the support of the board.
because we already have
Increase.
submitted a budget,
Mhm.
so, and we didn't consider that at the time
Who did you submit it to?
to Ed.
Well, no, we submitted, in January it was due, so
Yeah.
we submitted and put her extra hours that we asked for
Yeah.
last year
Mhm.
to bring her up to
So do
30
an
or
amendment,
31.
make an appointment. New certification, that's a good reason, among others. But I think I would suggest also doing an evaluation if you haven't done one, because another department head came to the select board asking for an increase for their employee, and there was no evaluation that was done. So the request was to do an evaluation, and based on that, to follow the personnel policies. So I'd encourage you to do that, and then make another appointment with Ed. Do an amended budget.
So if we did the evaluation and give it to Ed for him to do the formal evaluation, it's feedback to him.
Right, I mean, we should participate in his evaluation.
Yeah. Well, we did request that evaluations be done. That was part of his job. And back when we gave him his open session evaluation, we did talk about starting that process by giving everybody their self-evaluation to do, and then to try to do a couple of them a month. So that was a little bit of a reminder to get going on that. So you could also preempt that by saying, I'd like to have the paperwork and do my self-evaluation and get an appointment to have that done. So I just think you can drive it a little bit, and I think it might help.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. You have our support, so we'll
Yeah.
work with you on that. So, obviously. All right, it was just timely that this came out yesterday, so I
Yeah.
did watch from home and then borrowed that. Okay, the annual report, again, you mentioned it's due March 1st, so if you need our input on modifying from last year's town annual report.
Right.
Okay.
I know exactly where...
Clarification?
I know
Okay.
where it is.
I don't want it to slip
in
through
my
the cracks.
file, and
okay,
yeah.
Good. All right, and just to go, the next meeting would obviously be, before we go into
March
executive
4th.
session, March 4th. So just to mark your calendar. 9:30.
Should I make people aware I will be out a week in March? It'll be the week after that, so I'll be gone from the 13th through the 20th.
And the coverage, you're working on coverage out with Flo and Darlene, right? Okay.
I'll
good.
be out next Monday morning too, for a couple hours for,
Okay.
I'll
With
let
Flo
you know,
is in.
and I'll let Flo is in, and I'll let Ed know.
So when are you out?
I'll be gone, I will be here March 12th, so the 13th through the 20th.
So the 4 days of the following week.
The 13th isn't a Friday.
Yeah, it's a Friday, yeah. Friday the 13th.
Day of the
I
Lincoln.
can't deal with 2 in a year.
There's more, there's more. Yeah, where did we say, December?
Where's that? Did you put the executive
November, I
session up?
think.
You didn't put the, where's the
I'll put it
executive
up.
session? Okay. So we are going to, before you, I'll just read this and we'll do a roll call. Executive session GLC 30A, section 21, to discuss the reputation, character, physical condition, or mental health rather than professional competence of an individual, or discuss the discipline or dismissal of, or complaints or charges against a public officer, employee, staff member, or individual. So we will do a roll call. Kane, aye.
Is
Is this being recorded?
Yeah, as soon as we go, our roll call, we'll move into general.
Alderman, aye.
Aye. Palermo.
Patty Davis, aye.
And as soon as Lori gets back. We need a Loisel, aye.
Loisel, aye.
Okay, thank you.